And action. I think people might argue with you. I mean, I think there was... The thing about season 2 was there were so many characters coming in and out. There was so much mythology, you know, the moonstones and the witches and the werewolves, and which was necessary to build a basis for the foundation of the mythology, really get it all out. So we've gotten over that. Now what's going to happen is I think we're going to get back to the nitty-gritty of the story, the psychological thriller, the dark side of it. So, which is great, because I think that's what we were missing. And, you know, there's ebbs and flows, you know, it's a series, so it's an evolution. Damon had a lot going on in season 2. I think that he softened a lot, which is difficult for me, but you just have to trust Kevin and Julie Plec, you know, because they ultimately, they know that there's a balance of the characters. You can't just have one side all the time. What's great about Damon is that he can be such a bastard, but then he can be fiercely loyal, and he can be sweet, but then he'll snap your neck without thinking twice about it, you know. But he's very human. There's this facade of him being this badass, really mean, but underneath it, there's a fragility to him, you know. He can be hurt. He's had his heart broken twice in 2 seasons, you know. And it's always a problem to be in love with your brother's girlfriend. It never works out well, you know. Imagine the coffee sitting at breakfast table in the morning. So weird. Sometimes it affects you in many ways. What you try to do is you infuse things from your life into the work, so it becomes real for you. And that, you know, when it becomes real for you is, I think, ultimately when a scene works. So the question is, how do you deal with it? I mean, it comes and goes. You know, if anything, it's healthy, because you get, instead of screaming at your friends or your parents or at random people in your life, I get to get it all out on screen. And I've found that I'm much calmer as a human being by virtue of being able to scream and yell and throw things and kill people on set. It makes Ian a much calmer person. It's like therapy. I think what happened with Rose is there was a very big misconception with Rose. I think that, and not to take anything away from Rose, Damon was not in love with Rose, because people thought that. If anything, Rose was a distraction that Damon created for himself in order to stay away from Elena. The same thing he does with Andy, the journalist, who's awesome. Dawn's a good friend of mine, and she's such an amazing actress. And he creates these distractions so that he's not necessarily just going after Elena. And he says it to Stefan, you know, she's a distraction to keep me away from your girlfriend. But Rose, if anything, just solidified and made him understand how much he does actually care about Elena. It had nothing to do with Rose. And Rose was a sweet person, and Rose's story was very sad because she never really got to have peace and quiet in her life. And find love, because she always kept moving. So Rose made Damon realize a lot of things. And it is sweet to see Damon sort of being caring to someone, but it was very conflicting. I mean, he can shut it off like that and forget about it completely. I was the good guy all season 2.
Yes.
And it's a very tough switch for Damon. But again, it's a series, so it's an evolution. You know, as much good is in Stefan, there is evil in Stefan. As much evil there is in Damon, there's good in him as well. So they both have the capacity to move in and out of both of those realms. But I don't think any one of them would stick in either one. Stefan is fighting to be good, when in all actuality he wants to rip someone's neck open. It's like being an alcoholic or being a drug addict. It's very difficult to stay away from. It takes a lot of willpower, and that's what Stefan's been doing. Damon's no different. He's no different. He just acts on his impulses a little more. So I hope there's not too much of a switch. There's just got to be a good balance.